Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Headquarters, and welcome to another My Top 10. And as you've just seen there right at the beginning, this one is dedicated to none other than the iconic Gene Hackman. Now, Gene Hackman is an actor that I've always enjoyed. I really, really have. He's an actor whose career he started late in his career. I think he started in his 30s. I know he had a career in the military, and then he finally decided, I want to give this thing we call acting a go. He's always been fascinated with acting. It's something he always wanted to do. So when he finally decided, I'm going to give this a chance, you know, who would have known that it would lead to such an impressive career? And he's made so many amazing, amazing movies. And the thing with Gene Hackman, he has this presence in the screen, on the screen, and it's his physical performance, and it's the tone of his voice, and it's what he delivers with each performance. He's either the villain, he's played a lot of villains, and he's like this villain that basically suckers you in with his performance. He's very intimidating. There's just like this authoritative tone to his voice and how he just commands the screen. And then he's also always been like a military role, or he's been, the heroic cowboy or the villainous cowboy. He's done a lot of great work. And of course, we always remember him as the first big screen Lex Luthor. So without further ado, let's get into it and let's look at Mr. Gene Hackman's career with my top 10 favourite Gene Hackman films. Now, like I say, my top 10, these are my personal favourites. And the first one we're going to be having a look at is the first film I remember seeing Mr. Gene Hackman in, and it was a film that came out way, way back when in the 1970s, and it is, of course, The Poseidon Adventure. Now, this particular film, it came out in 1972. We know the story. It's about the SS Poseidon, and it gets caught up in a storm, and it basically gets swept over, overturned, and it's up to the survivors of who are stuck at the bottom end of the boat, this huge ship, to try and get the up to the top to get out and survive. And there's a lot of tragedy along the way, and there's a lot of heroicness in this. And this was, for me, one of Gene Hackman's most physical acting roles, because he was a lot at the time. He was younger, he was physically fit, and he did a lot of great work in this movie. So without further ado, let's have a look at Poseidon Adventure at number 10.
In the early morning hours on January 1st, the SS Poseidon, en route from New York to Athens, was struck by a 90-foot tidal wave.
Oh, my God.
And capsized. Irwin Allen's production of The Poseidon Adventure.
Of 1,400 people aboard, only 6 will survive. This is their story.
That's the way out. That's our only chance.
Don't listen to him!
Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Red Buttons, Carol Lindley, Roddy McDowell, Stella Stevens, Shelley Winters, Jack Albertson, Pamela Sue Martin, Arthur O'Connell, Eric Shea, and Leslie Nielsen.
Who will survive? The combined talents of 15 Academy Award winners bring you
The Poseidon Adventure, a Ronald Neame film coming from 20th Century Fox.
Just, what can we say? Poseidon Adventure, I remember seeing that on a Sunday afternoon when they used to do the Sunday matinees here in the UK. Used to always go to my grandparents. Used to always, after we had the dinner, we all would settle around in the living room, and we had the television on, and we would always watch like the one or two classic movies that they would feature, and this was one of the movies that I got to see. And it's because of that this has become one of my favorites over the years of Gene Hackman. And of course, it's stellar cast in that as well. Fantastic. Still a classic to this day in my eyes. But next is a film that I don't think gets talked about a lot. For me, I've always found this film exciting. I've always found this film to be a fun watch. And for me, it was another one of those films that really showcased Gene Hackman and what he was able to do. He had, thanks to Poseidon Adventure and thanks to, Superman, he really just went on a trajectory and he started just skyrocketing with his career. But this film was one of the ones that is not as well known or isn't considered, high on the list of Gene Hackman movies. But I personally enjoy it, and it is, of course, Narrow Margin. Now, Narrow Margin is a 1990 American neo-noir action thriller film written and directed by Peter Hyams. It stars Gene Hackman and Anne Archer. And the film's about, it was released in the United States by TriStar Pictures, and it's basically about a woman who witnesses a murder, and Gene Hackman's trying to protect her so she can testify in court. And there's a huge train journey that takes place, and it's just a fun movie. It's just a fun movie. I really enjoy this movie. And Gene Hackman and Anne Archer, they've got chemistry there and they do a fantastic job. So at number 9 is Narrow Margin.
You see, made you, Michael.
No, you don't understand, Liam.
Don't be afraid. I would never harm you. Well, Michael, I lied.
The woman was in the other room. She saw everything. Everything. Nobody knew about her, and they still don't. You were witness to a murder, and we'd like you to come back and testify.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think you realize the situation you're in.
I'll take my chances.
You get on the train, lock the door. Those two guys, they got automatic weapons. They've seen me. They might not have seen you. They might not know what you look like.
How do we stop him?
We don't. It's not going to take them very long to find his compartment.
This is my life we're dealing with.
How much does a deputy district attorney make in a year? I don't like people like you.
No, we're gonna find her. It's just a matter of time. You really think you can get her off this train?
Get who? These guys are professionals, and if they see you, they're gonna kill you.
Grab the handrail! Get on the roof!
Gene Hackman,
I have to make my move before they make theirs.
Anne Archer.
I'm scared stiff.
Sometimes the difference between life and death is a narrow margin.
So narrow margin there at number 9. I really enjoy that movie. I just love the intenseness on the train. It's a good movie. So that's my number 9. Now at my number 8, it's a film with Gene Hackman in, but it has a very strong cast. It's got a who's who of Hollywood at the time. And, for me, many years ago when Gene Hackman first started out in, acting, he went to New York City. And when he went to New York, he went to Broadway. And he was trying to crack, the acting gig, and him and Dustin Hoffman were together, and they started off in a lot of comedies, a lot of comedy productions over in Hollywood, over at Broadway. And as you know, for the majority of Gene Hackman's career, all of his well-known and I guess favorite films to many have been his more serious roles, but there's been one or two roles that he's done where he has showed like comedy and great comedy timing. Just burped. And number 8 is one of those movies where he does show how good he is at comedy timing, and it is none other than Get Shorty. Now this film is fantastic, but John Travolta, it's they did the first one, then they did Be Cool, the sequel, and I believe in 2017 there was an actual television series. But the first movie in the franchise is my favourite, and it's basically where this mobster loan shark ends up getting involved in Hollywood, in a Hollywood production, and Gene Hackman plays the director of a feature film that's in production. And so it's a real fun film. So at number 8, we have Get Shorty.
In a town known for fame, wealth, and glamour, one honest man has come to Hollywood to make a killing.
My name's Chili Palmer.
Chili's a gangster. Ran a club I used to play at for another gangster back in Miami. How is Momo these days anyway?
Dead. So you make movies, huh?
Times you have to get kind of rough, huh?
Not really.
Have you spoken with Mr. Palmer since your husband blew up?
Oh, my Leo!
It says here you're getting Martin real for the part of Lovejoy. How are you gonna do that?
I'm gonna take a gun, I'm gonna put it to his head, I'm gonna say, sign the papers, Martin, or you're dead. That's it.
I wonder, would that work?
John Travolta.
I think you could be an actor. I know you're acting sometimes, but you don't show it.
You thought I was faking?
Gene Hackman.
Yeah, let me help you. Go ahead. Suck harder.
Rene Russo.
Harry's dreaming of a $40 million production. He'll never get off the ground. With a star, he'll never sign with or without my help.
And Danny DeVito.
Looking at you, I'm having memories of us. And I'm wondering, how did it go wrong? How did it all slip away?
Well, it didn't slip away, Martin. You did when you went off with Nikki at my birthday party.
Yeah, that was a good party.
Rough business, this movie business.
Don't you puke on my shoes, Harry.
I may have to go back to loan sharking just to take a rest.
Get Shorty.
Fade out.
So Get Shorty at number 8. Now, the next movie at number 7, we're going to go over to the Wild Wild West, because it's the first of 2 westerns featuring Gene Hackman on this list, and this one was a one that I fell in love with as soon as I seen it. And it is, of course, none other than The Quick and the Dead, where Gene Hackman plays a fantastic villain. He plays John Herond, and the whole story with Sharon Stone, and it's one of the first feature films featuring Russell Crowe and a young Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's the story of this female gunslinger who comes to redemption, and she enters the gun competition, and it's all act revenge for the death of her father. And Gene Hackman, of course, plays an amazing villain. And it's another case of, how great he is and how versatile he is as an actor. And, like I said, he has that ability when he wants to play a villain, he really becomes, he's not physically intimidating, but there's just this presence about him when he's on screen that just captivates you, and he means business when he plays these type of roles. So at number 7, Quick and the Dead.
This is my town! If you live to see the dawn, it's because I allow it. I decide who lives or who dies.
In a town called Redemption, death is a way of life. Some fight for money. Some fight for glory. But one stranger has come here, looking for something else.
I now declare the quick draw competition open. Anybody can challenge anybody.
Sign me up.
Sure must want to die young, miss.
She can play their game.
Want to play poker with me, little lady?
Looks like you're having a pretty good time playing with yourself.
She can beat their odds.
Did you ever kill anyone?
Sure.
I don't think you have.
But there's one thing she can't do.
Why are you really here? You're no gunfighter.
Forget the past.
String him up. Put him on a chair.
Some people deserve to die.
TriStar Pictures presents Sharon Stone.
I'm gonna kill you if I have to ride all the way to hell to do it.
Gene Hackman.
There's nothing on this earth that frightens me now. Nothing.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Hey, my bad.
In a film by Sam Raimi. The Quick and the Dead. In this town, you're either one or the other.
Absolutely brilliant film. Gene Hackman really shines in that movie. Sharon Stone, I thought, did a great job, but the other actor that I thought really shined in that was Leonardo DiCaprio, and it really, give you the sign of how great of an actor he is. I know he was in a film, I forgot the name of it, but when he was even younger, I believe, with Robert De Niro, and he was great in that. But this is another one of those films where he just shined and excelled. But the next movie, of course, is the movie that he won his, I believe, Best Supporting Acting Oscar on, and it is, of course, Unforgiven. Unforgiven is a great movie. he plays the sheriff in this. You've got Clint Eastwood, who, he's going off to do one final job, leaving his farming life behind. And it's just a fantastic film. And this was an Oscar well deserved for Gene Hackman. Big, nothing but respect for Gene Hackman in this movie, and Clint Eastwood and the supporting cast. They all did a fantastic job. And that is why this is my number 6.
Step over to the office and get the bullwhip.
A whipping? That's all they get after what they've done? Get out of here!
It was a matter of honor.
They're paying $1,000 to whatever kills the 2 boys that cut up Delilah.
In a time when lawmen were killers.
What are y'all looking at?
You English, Bob?
Outlaws were heroes.
Well, I thought that you were dead. Hell, I even thought I was dead. Till I found out it was just in Nebraska.
And a bad reputation.
You're the one who killed William Harvey and robbed that train over Missouri?
Was as good as gold.
My guess is you're calling yourself Mr. William Money.
Say what?
You don't look no meaner than hell, cold-blooded damn killer.
I ain't like that anymore, kid.
$1,000 reward, Will.
Nobody's gonna come.
So you still have that Spencer rifle, huh?
Yeah.
He's my partner. He don't go, I don't go.
What's it come to 3 ways?
Just because we're going on this killing, that don't mean I'm gonna go back to being the way I was.
Are you really gonna kill them cowboys?
I do not like assassins or men of low character.
We ain't bad men no more. We're farmers.
You're a lot of savages! A bunch of bloody savages! Assassin!
Well, I guess they have it coming.
We all have it coming, kid.
Some legends will never be forgotten. Some wrongs can never be forgiven.
The man don't want to get killed. Better clear on out the back.
Unforgiven.
Just a fantastic movie. And I was reading and watched an interview with Clint Eastwood where he actually said Gene Hackman originally turned down the role in Unforgiven. And, Clint Eastwood said to him, look at the script again and get back to us. He got back to him, and then through, just a bit of persuasion, and, because Gene Hackman was sick of doing like these violent movies. He wanted to do something different. And Clint Eastwood was able to convince him to say, why don't we do this movie but show, how we can, do things and show, other side of these kind of movies that's not always about the violence. And I believe that's what, in some ways, they did achieve with Unforgiven. But the next movie at number 6 is another comedy, and I absolutely adore this movie. I find it so funny, and it's it's a movie that stars one of my other favorite actors who sadly is also no longer with us, and I will probably be doing my top 10 on this particular actor as well. And the actor I'm talking about is Mr. Robert Williams. So, Robin Williams, sorry, not Robert, Robin. But this film, The Birdcage, was hilarious about, a gay couple with the son and the daughter of Gene Hackman's character and Diane Reese's character, who are now preparing to get married. And you've got just a hilarious, antics between both couples, and the whole story of them, kind of becoming this unique blended family. So The Birdcage is my number 6.
I'm getting married. It's a girl. I met her at school. It's this wonderful... Are you upset? But let me tell you why.
Don't use that tone to me.
What tone?
That sarcastic, contemptuous tone that means you know everything because you're a man and I know nothing because I'm a woman.
You're not a woman.
Oh, you bastard.
Are you crazy? You can't get married. It's out of the question.
We've been sleeping together for a year.
Oh, God. Has he been tested?
Oh, Kevin.
Yes, and so have I.
Who's his father?
His father is in the arts.
You do an eclectic celebration of the dance. You do fussy, fussy, fussy. You do Martha Graham, Martha Graham, Martha Graham. Or Madonna, Madonna, Madonna. But you keep it all inside.
What does the mother do?
She's a housewife.
Oh, I could play it straight.
You take your knife and you smear. Men smear. Smear, that's it. Yeah. Get the pinky down. Right, hold the knife boldly and with strength.
I'm gonna pierce the toast.
Al, you old so-and-so. How do you feel about that call today? I mean, the Dolphins, 4th and 3 play on their 30-yard line with only 34 seconds to go.
How do you think I feel? Betrayed, bewildered?
Call me.
Perfect. Won't you come in?
Senator Keeley, Mrs. Keeley, come here and give me a hug.
I've never felt such tension. It's like riding a psychotic horse towards a burning stable. Oh, God, it's a nightmare.
Something about the father and Mrs. Coleman. I can't put my finger on it.
It's nothing.
What do you mean?
It's nothing.
It is
Dad,
something.
It is nothing. Something very strange is going on.
What can you say? Just hilarious, yes. Just hilarious. From start to finish, just a fun, over the top, crazy movie where once again Gene Hackman shows off his, comedy timing, and especially it's always funny when they're playing like the straight man in this, like the straight, serious character, and then they're just hilarious without knowing how hilarious they are. And then of course Robin Williams and Nathan Lane just bring the camp, and it's just a fun, crazy, hilarious movie. But now we are now at number 5, and at number 5, am I at number 5? Have I missed one? Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, right, I'm at number 4 now. I can't even keep up. Yeah, number 4. I'm at number 4 now, because that film is just totally distracted me with Robin Williams and Gene Hackman. At number 4 now, I believe, we have the film that created probably one of the best cinematic villains that we've ever seen. And, DC Comics, I don't know how many times we've now had a version of this particular character that Gene Hackman has played. 3 times, and I don't think he's been topped yet. He's still the best of the best of course, Lex Luthor. So, him and Christopher Reeves, the chemistry between them, they really felt like these dueling hero and villains. The chemistry was there, the relationship between them was there. Christopher Reeve is still right up there with the top, Supermans that we've had on the big screen. And in many ways, they're now reunited. And that, for me, brings me a little bit of joy knowing that. But without further ado, of course, at my number 4, we have Superman. And what I'm going to show you is the new cinematic trailer that DC put together for when they were releasing, I believe it was the 4K release of Superman. So without further ado, at my number 4, it is Superman.
Lois Lane, say hello to Clark Kent.
Any more at home like you?
Not really, no.
How'd you like your first day on the job?
Easy, miss. I've got you. On the whole, I'd say it's been swell.
Well,
To commit the crime of the century, a man would just naturally want to face the challenge of the century. For the opportunity of destroying everything that he represents.
Otis, take the gentleman's cape.
I don't think he wants me to, Mr. Luthor.
Is that how a warped brain like yours gets its kicks? By planning the death of innocent people?
No. By causing the death of innocent people. Bye-bye, California.
You were great in your day, Superman. But it just stands to reason. When it came time to cash in your chips, it's opened. A diseased maniac would be your banker.
The problem with Men of Steel, there's never one around when you want one.
I'm sorry about that, Lois. But I've been kind of busy for a while.
Best Lex Luthor and probably the best Superman. But shall we all down to the final 3, I believe? Yes, the final 3. And the final 3, the 2 of them are probably very obvious what they are. But at number 3, for me, is one of the best military strategist, military strategy type, war political drama movies that I've ever seen. And it's all down to 2 people. Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. And I'm talking about a movie that we all know very, very well. I would like to think we do. I'm talking about Crimson Tide. Now, Crimson Tide is about, ultra-nationalists in Russia are threatening to release nuclear weapons against both the US and Japan. You have the younger commanding officer, Denzel Washington, older commanding officer, Gene Hackman, who are, button heads on how they, run a ship or how they follow commands. And it really was one of, for me, the best films that year. And I genuinely believe that Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington deserved Oscars for this particular film. I just love their chemistry. I love Gene Hackman when he plays like these military characters or these Western characters, and he might not be, physically, imposing, but it's his voice, it's his demeanor, it's how he delivers his performances on screen. He generally just sucks you in with his presence. And this is another one of those movies that did that a boatload. So at number 3, it is Crimson Tide.
Russian ultra-nationalist leader, backed by his rebel army, threatened nuclear attack on the United States and Japan.
Maybe it's not as bad as it looks. It is.
Those sailors out there are just boys. Boys who are training to do a terrible and unthinkable thing. And if that ever occurs, the only reassurance they'll have that they're doing the proper thing is going to derive from their unqualified belief in the unified chain of command. That means we don't question each other's motives in front of the crew. It means we don't undermine each other. It means they hear your voice right after mine without hesitation. Give him a missile key. Give me the missile key, Mr. Hunter. I'm the commander of this fucking ship! Give me that goddamn key! Millions of lives at stake here if Peter don't make a dumb decision! 1, 2...
Very intense. Such a brilliant movie. That's probably one of my favorite military naval movies out there, if not the best. Fantastic. Gene Hackman, Denzel Washington, the best of the best. And it's an amazing supporting cast as well. You had Aragorn from Lord of the Rings in there, and a younger version of him. I cannot pronounce his surname, but I know his first name is Vigo. So great cast. Just a great film. So here we are at number 2, and this should be no surprise. And of course, it is Mississippi Burning with Gene Hackman and William Dafoe, set in 1964. During the civil rights movements, there are people, civil rights workers that go missing. There's a lot of racism about, and it really is a harsh film that shows you how, crucial that time was within the movement. And you've got these 2 amazing FBI agents played by Gene Hackman, and of course William Dafoe, that go out of their way to sort of find the culprits and to solve these murders during this very crucial time in American history. And William Dafoe, by the way, another amazing actor. And I think it's a crime that to this day, that man has still not received an Oscar. There's a number of actors and actresses that's been nominated more than once, and they always seem to miss out. And sometimes I think, why? It's like, a female actress that I generally believe is overdue for an Oscar for some of her performances, Glenn Close. She's another legendary of the golden age of Hollywood, or the new age Hollywood, or those last kind of new wave actors that came around the Gene Hackman time that deserve to win, and deserve to win big. But anyway, at number 2, it's Mississippi Burning.
I am sick and tired of going to the funerals of black men who have been murdered by white men.
They are powerless against us if every single Anglo-Saxon Christian one of us stands together.
The rest of America don't see it that way, Mr. Mayor.
The rest of America don't mean a damn thing. You in Mississippi now.
You had us scared to death, man.
Don't you call me man, boy.
Did it ever occur to them they're going to end up dead?
The moment those 3 kids disappeared, it was news.
The moment the 3 civil rights workers disappeared, it was news.
Somebody told you what you stand up. Get out of here.
You'd kill Frank? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't give it no more thought than wringing a cat's neck.
These people crawled out of a sewer, Mr. Ward!
We do not accept Jews because they reject Christ. We do not accept Papists because they bow to a Roman dictator. We do not accept Turks, Orientals, nor Negroes.
We're not killers. That's the difference between them and us.
That's the difference between them and you. Did you smile when the bulldozer ran over the black kid's body?
We're here to protect Anglo-Saxon democracy and the American way.
What's wrong with these people?
1964, when America was at war with itself.
Amazing. Such a brilliant movie. I actually watched this movie a couple of weeks ago, just after the passing of Gene Hackman, before like the news broke on like the full details of what transpired with him. And I remember just watching this movie and being captivated by his performance, and of course William Dafoe. And I really, my heart sank, because as I was watching the movie, it was dawning on us more and more, to the realization that the news had broke of his passing, and trying to take it all in. But it is really such a strong, powerful film, a film that tells us great tale about the civil rights movement and the things that transpired in such a strong way back during that period in American history. And Gene Hackman, like we say, he basically stole the show in this movie, alongside William Dafoe and the rest of the amazing supporting cast. And of course, here we are at number one. And of course, number one, I don't think it's any surprise, is The French Connection. The role that, for me, I think this, many roles could be considered, the best of the best for Gene Hackman, but this particular role of Jimmy Popeye Doyle, which won him his Best Performance Actor nomination and win, would probably always go down as his biggest, role. You get a lot of actors who are typecast for certain roles or franchises, like Bruce Willis, Die Hard, Stallone, Rambo, Schwarzenegger, Terminator. And then you've got all like the newer franchises like, Fast and Furious, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously, we've got Robbie Downey Jr. will always be known for Iron Man. But when it comes to Gene Hackman, because he wasn't like the over-the-top, cinematic action star, but more like an action thriller star, all of his roles and what he'll be remembered fondly for will be Jimmy Popeye Doyle, and he was the first ever Lex Luthor. So there is two roles I believe he will be fondly remembered for forever. And, for the rest of my days, I will always remember Mr. Gene Hackman for his contribution to the film industry and the amazing collective work that he's done. But like I say, this is his number one film for me, and probably his number one film in the minds of many fans of Mr. Gene Hackman. So at number one, it is, of course, The French Connection.
All right, Popeye's here. Get your hands on your heads. Get off the bar and get on the wall. What's my name?
Popeye Doyle. If he doesn't like you, he'll take you apart. And it's all perfectly legal, because Doyle fights dirty
You want to take a ride there, fat man?
and plays rough.
Anybody want a milkshake?
Doyle is bad news, but he's a good cop.
We're going now. Bye.
How many times have I been downhearted, looked up and saw him smiling like a shining dime? Yeah. And hoped that he would stay and tell me why he was so happy if he had the time.
Who is that clown? Jewish Lucky. What about the last of big-time spenders? You naked? No, are you? He's spreading it around like the Russians are in Jersey. They say we stick around and give him a tail.
Our friend's name is Boca, Salvatore Boca, B-O-C-A. Well, downtown, they're pretty sure he pulled off a contract on a guy named DeMarco.
Man, that's not a drop. I'll open up a charge for you at Bloomingdale's. BOCA.
Doesn't matter.
And then on our own, after working the whole day and night, we tail him to Brooklyn. And we sat on him for practically a week. Now, who do we come up with?
The French Connection. A millionaire exporter with a record too clean to be true. And Doyle knows it. But he's been known to make mistakes.
Your hunches have backfired before, Doyle.
This time, he can't afford to be wrong.
I know the deal hasn't gone down. I know it hasn't. I can feel it. I'm dead certain.
Last time you're dead certain, we went with a dead cop.
All right, let's hit him. Hit him!
All right, nobody move. Put your hands in the air.
The stakeout.
It's me. It's me.
The payoff. The chase.
Don't stop.
Hey, Coke, you all right?
French Connection.
There we have it. Number 1, The French Connection. And, you know, that's a great movie with a great story. These two cops trying to stop this French drug smuggler. Just a great movie, which spawned a sequel. The sequel, for me, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it wasn't as good as the first one. I personally still enjoy the sequel. I could easily watch them back to back. Gene Hackman, just a fantastic actor. And, you know, he's sadly no longer with us. But you know, his career is still with us. His work within the world of entertainment, within the world of Hollywood and cinema, and, you know, all of the amazing movies he's managed to make will forever be remembered and will be forever with us. And I'm sure a lot of what he's achieved within the world of his Hollywood career will be, you know, fondly studied. And he's probably been an inspiration to many young, amazing actors who are climbing the ranks in, or, you know, trying to carve their own niche in the world of entertainment in Hollywood. So thank you, Gene Hackman, for all of your amazing work. And I'd like to end my top 10 Gene Hackman favorite films with a tribute video to the very man himself. So take care, everybody. There'll be a lot more coming on the entertainment headquarters. Keep enjoying your movies. Keep on enjoying all things entertainment. And I'll catch us all at the next one.
It's funny that I never had any large goals as an actor. All I wanted to do was work. I loved it so much that I wanted, you know, I'm off Broadway and then a small part on television maybe, and then Broadway, and that all kind of happened. And then I from a Broadway show, I was cast in a film called Lilith that Warren Beatty and Gene Seberg were in, and Warren then remembered me from that and gave me a part in Bonnie and Clyde.
And that was really when the bandwagon started
That's
to roll.
right, yeah.
What do you want us to do? I'm gonna make a deal with you. I'm gonna go to the stern, to the engine room. And if it's passable, we're gonna do it my way. If not, we'll go forward. You got it?
But it just stands to reason. When it came time to cash in your chips, so diseased maniac would be your banker.
Mind over muscle.
Wake up! Oh! You get this straight shit, kicker. Don't you go mistaking me for some whole other body. You got your brains in your dick anything that's gonna fade away. You're gonna be here till the city finished. Is that gun just for show? You can just shoot anything else. About the Queen again. Independence Day.
Mr. Billy Friedkin, who has already received his prize tonight, but I have to thank him because he really brought me through this when I wanted to quit. And Eddie Egan, who you all know, Mr. Phil D'Antoni, Roy Scheider, Roy. And last, a young lady who I met in New York many years ago, Miss Filippa Maltese, and she brought me uptown. Thank you.